Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to a new episode. Today's data topic is data cleansing, and in the previous two episodes, we have been looking at data quality and data profiling. After that, it's time for data cleansing. Well, there are several techniques of data cleansing that I use. What I have done is that I have summarized all my 7 years of experience and whatever techniques I use, I have given the information. Also, nowadays, teaching, self learning is very easy with the invent of ChatGPT, Bing, and Bard. So yeah, if you guys use ChatGPT, then you can already know what new technologies are available. Further, today we are also going to look at SQL codes and how easily we can query from the database in the boundaries of data cleansing. So without further ado, let's begin. Well, there are several metrics. And the agenda of this today's topic is I will be showcasing different techniques, different metrics, and for each metric, I will be explaining one by one with some for I'll be also showing SQL codes, and yeah, that's it. That's it. And later, then yeah, we will be knowing about the difference between data profiling, quality, and cleansing, which I tell in every video of the last three parts. So yeah, and that is how we are gonna end. And we'll also look at some SQL coding. Okay, so let's start with the first metric. That is, the first metric for data cleansing is standardization. And in the standardization, the main thing is to convert data into its consistent format. For example, converting data fields, like for example, a date can be a slash. Like for example, if I open Excel to just show different formats of date fields, so then only you can understand. So let me open it. Yeah, a date column can be of format like this, or like this, and in other different formats. So it's better to have the column with a consistent format, and for that standardization is one of the most important thing that needs to be done. So and also, like for example, the phone numbers, some phone numbers are has a zero on the start of it. Some phone numbers do not have a zero. Some phone numbers have a dash at the start of it. So converting everything into a consistent format and a standard, that is what this metric is. For this, I have prepared some SQL codes for standardization. For example, trim, update and trim. For example, if you are in Netherlands and all the phone numbers are of seven digits, but some phone numbers are of 8 digits, maybe you can say the operator is different, but then it's better to check it. And if there is a zero or a dash, which I told you before, or if some has +31, whatever is it, so then it's better to trim and convert all the phone numbers into into 7 digits, and then you have a consistent column there. Further, if there are null values, then you can use a calls command to fill the column with a default value. Also, you can use, if there are upper and lower digits mixed in a sentence or in a column, which has some words and some words you want in everything to start with a capital letter and then everything small, to convert it into a into to convert all the strings into a consistent format. There you can use upper, lower, or in sentence format, and so on. Like, you can replace, you can substring, and you can round off, you can cast. So there are many techniques in SQL to make a column standardized. Okay, deduplication. For example, if there are duplicate rows in your database, in the table of the database, then you can use distinct, because duplication also creates problems when you do a left join and outer join. So it's better to have all distinct rows in a table. Filtering. Filtering, yeah, it is easy because it's only use of a where statement. For example, select star from table where a column name has you want to only filter uh, let's say the word starts with su, sorry. So something like this. Then the matrix is validation. Validation is checking the accuracy and completeness of a data. Rules like no nulls, no empty, the data size are consistent. All these points makes the data valid. Then parsing. Parsing involves breaking down data fields into their individual components, such as separating, like you have the delimiters. I have a SQL code for it. Let me show it to you guys. Okay, for example, uh, parsing means if you want to extract the first five characters or if you want to extract the next three characters. Then you want to create two columns out of a comma. Then if you want extract only the uppercase, lowercase, and the numbers only. If you want to, so all these techniques are used for parsing. Trim is also one of the function in SQL that is used for parsing to remove all the blanks at the front and at the end. So these were the techniques for parsing in SQL. Then normalization. Normalization involves eliminating data redundancies and inconsistencies by organizing data into tables. For example, creating a star schema where the fact table is in the middle, and then all the dimension tables are connected to the fact table through a primary key. For example, this is how one can draw a, this is a fact table, and there are different dimension tables around the, means this is how to structure or to create a star schema model where uh, cus- customer ID, this is one of the key column in the dimension table. This is product ID, this is order ID, and this is uh, something else, country ID, count ID, and the reference. So all the primary keys are present here, and the child or the reference IDs are present here, and those are all the IDs are connected to a one-on-one or one-to-many relationship. Sometimes also many-to-many relationship, but the many-to relationship you can design it in another way. It's not a, like a straight line connection. It should be have a third intermediate table in between to connect it. Okay, so this is how one can design a star schema, and for normalization I have prepared a SQL code, a small SQL code. For example, create a customer table, create a order table, create a product table, and then all the primary keys of these three tables are present as a foreign key. It means there is a reference of the foreign keys, means for this table or the order items table, all these tables have a reference of their IDs here in form of a foreign key, and this table also contains a primary key, that is the product ID. So this is how you design a star schema, and yeah, you can try it out, guys. Okay, then the next technique comes. Then the next metric is data imputation, and data imputation is like acts as a filling, or it's like a block for filling the datas, or filling the missing datas, or replacing or removing errors. all those features are a part of data imputation. And it is, and you guys have already guessed correctly that it involves mainly the update commands, and then also you can use calls, and yeah, there are many other features. It's just a different form of complex terminologies, but then all direct towards the normal basic things one does in their day-to-day life. Also, one of the technique is that in machine learning, one can use a regression technique to fill the missing values. It's not only that you should only fill the max, mean, and the average values into empty columns, into empty cells, but also you can use regression technique to fill the empty cells, fill the empty cells. So that involves creating a function, and that function is used in a case statement where if it is blank, then if it is null, then use the function with these three parameters of the column of the same row, and then yeah, put the value there. That's it. Okay, moving forward, then the next metric is geocoding. For example, if you have a data set of geocodes which has latitude and longitude information, then you can already structure the data, because for example, if you use latitude longitude information to calculate distance, they need to convert the latitude longitude into a consistent format, that is, rather than a dot like 52.333, rather than a dot, you need a comma there, something like that. So converting the latitude longitude information into a readable format for calculating the distance, or calculating any, or doing any calculation, etc. I have already made a YouTube video out of this, where I use Azure to
I want
calculate
to take all
distance.
stress out of the user experience. Let's have the app ready when I'm back. That's a problem.
So you can refer to this YouTube video where I have
To
shared
call the client, to ask
the
the client
codes,
for
where I
certain
have
help.
shared the codes, and you can already see that I'm using dots everywhere. So feel free to like and subscribe, well, by the way, guys, this is my YouTube channel, Lazy Yogis, and please subscribe. Okay, moving towards the next, that is data enrichment. Data enrichment involves adding additional data set. For example, you can insert new columns, insert new rows, you can uh, join two tables, you can update. So that is enrichment, and you can do it with union, update, insert, outer join. There are many techniques in SQL. The most interesting one is fuzzy matching. Fuzzy matching is, for example, like Somajit Parida. My name is Somajit Parida, and you have a column of 1 million records of customer names. Then, if you want to know what are the sounding words, or what are the rhyming words similar to Somajit Parida, that is my name, then you can use this fuzzy technique. And the fuzzy technique involves different functions. Soundex is already built in SQL. You can directly use this technique to see to let me close all these things. I have already the code available with me, and sounding words. Yeah, you can already use Soundex to test what is the outcome of this function. And if I run this code, then you can see it, the soundex assigns a value to each of the name. And if I want to see what are the rhyming words similar to P430, or what are the similar names that has the label or code P430, then you can already see it gives like this is the outcome, where wherever there is similarity or wherever there is the start Pluta is there, then it assigns the same code to to the names. So this is one of the technique of fuzzy matching. Also, one can use Levenstein, Winkler distance. All these techniques are there for fuzzy matching. Trimming we already know, and yeah, one can use a trim function in SQL to do trimming. uh, yeah, if you want to remove the white spaces or empty spaces before a start of a string or end of a string or a start, so then you can use trimming. Character set conversion, that is converting from ASCII to UTF. ASCII was an old version, and UTF storing, which is binary, is a new version of storing data, and there you can use the convert function in SQL to do the character set conversion. Handling non-values, yeah, it is easy peasy because in the standardization technique, that is the previous one. Here we already saw how to standardize, how to also we can use replacing technique of null values. There are different techniques to handle null values. Also, calls can be used to replace it with a default value. Then data masking. Data masking involves replacing sensitive data with fictitious data, where for example if you have, if it's a logistics company, then the price information is very sensitive, rather than and when you're displaying the data publicly, then rather than giving information of the prices or the rates, you can mask it with some hash code or strings. There you can use update and set command to just replace the data, update the table and set the column is equal to this. Then the most interesting one was outlier detection. Outlier detection, for example, if you have an integer column or a whole number or a decimal column, and then if you want to detect in the column what are the outliers, then I have developed the code. They have developed the code for it, and yeah, the code looks something like this, where if I run it, then it will give me something like this. It will tag each data. It will tag each data, and it will show what are the outliers. So the formula that I used is that if the average is greater than 3 times the standard deviation, then that data point is an outlier. So this is how I am calculating the outliers. It's a, yeah, it's means I haven't tested it or confirmed it or validated it with the business. I have done just for play and for now, because outlier detection generally I do with histograms, but this is the first time I am using SQL code, and I have to validate with the other data scientists. So, but you guys can implement it and check it with yourself. Data stratification includes categorizing. This is mostly used by machine learning people, where they need to categorize the data. For example, you can categorize by using partition code, or you can use partition way of working, or you can also use aggregation to categorize or group the data. Aggregation in the sense like which aggregate by countries and find the revenue, or aggregate by product and find the revenue, something like that. Data clustering involves grouping data into clusters, and there I couldn't do anything with SQL, so I generally use k-means from Python, and with few lines of code, it gives me a first draft of the different type of clusters that are there. So it's k-means clustering I used, and here I'm trying to find three clusters or three groups. Metadata management, I do manually, because the data dictionary or what are the metadata present or the features, I generally do it in SharePoint, where I create the different columns, who is the owner of the data, when it is updated, what is the frequency. It is done manually by me, and that is how I maintain the data. I couldn't find any application that can support me here. Okay, anonymization. I will now little bit speed up. Anonymization through update function we can use it. Address standardization. Yeah, you can use update and different other techniques, stream, etc. Data segmentation. We already read about k-means clustering. Record matching. Yeah, deduplication, and we can already do it. Data fingerprinting, yeah, this is one of the most interesting one. Fingerprinting is one of the important technique to anonymize the data. For example, you can replace the sensitive data with a hash code or with some digits or some random strings, etc. And that we can use. Checksum is a function in SQL where you can join three columns to generate a hash code or to generate a 64-digit random strings, and those are unique also. You can also use update and concat to concat multiple columns into one column with its different strings so that you anonymize the data. That is how you do data fingerprinting here. Then data compression, yeah, I will skip this one. Data partitioning, you already know in SQL how to do it. Data reconciliation, one of the most important technique. Data reconciliation means, for example, if you have 4 to 5 databases, like operations have their own database, finance has their own database, and it's a logistics company. Logistics companies have several customers for which we do the delivery works. Then let's say finance has information about 64 customers and operation has information about 60 customers, then there is a mismatch. That is why it is very important to do data reconciliation of the same data from different databases. And lastly, data purging involves permanently deleting the data. For example, if you have historical record, now is 2023, and if one can. Okay, the last one is data purging. Data purging means deleting the data sets. For example, now is 2023, and if you have data of 2012 and you have already, it's in the current database, either you can do is archiving or you can delete it, because if it is unnecessary, because it is consuming your data space, and for each data space you pay money as rental charges because everything costs money. So it depends on the business, as and jointly you take a decision on this. Okay, then lastly, the time zone conversion. This is one of the most important or a difficult task that each company witnesses, because, for example, some of the reports demands that, for example, a order is delivered, and in UK, the team wants to see in their local time, and in Netherlands, people want to see when the order was delivered in Netherlands time. This creates a confusion, and to implement that is also a little bit of a difficult. It's a difficulty. For that, the most important, the easy technique that I use is a convert function in SQL, and that is how I convert into the local time. Okay, we saw the videos of data profiling, and in my YouTube channel, guys, I have already created a playlist. There is a playlist for data trends, and then
I see your
and there I have made a lot of videos about. I have made a video about data profiling. I also made a video about data management, Power Apps, and a lot other things. So we already saw how to do data profiling. We already saw video of data quality, like this one, data quality, and we saw, and we today now we are seeing the video of data cleansing. So with this, I think the necessary skills of a data engineer is sufficient to work or start working. So please do take this seriously, that all these three modules are necessary for a data engineer to understand data and to work with it. Otherwise, garbage in, garbage out is always the case. Uh, yeah, data profile, data quality, we went through it. It's time to. So I already showed you guys the all the SQL codes that I use for data cleaning. Well, the same thing can also be done in Python and Excel also, but then that one I leave it to you guys. Okay, and That's it. Thank you guys, and we'll see each other in the next video. Please show your love by liking and subscribing. Bye bye.